All right, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot that's kind of just ready to go, but we're gonna dive into it. We are making salmon burgers. We're gonna do Greek style salmon burgers. I'm very excited, but let's get started. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make homemade pickles. I have in here about 1 cup of water, and we're gonna do a quick pickle. Basically, we're gonna heat this up and then throw it on top of cucumber, which I have here a English cucumber, a seedless English cucumber, and we're gonna chop about a cup of it. And then, like I said, we're gonna make our pickling liquid, heat it up, and then pour it over our cucumbers. That way, we don't necessarily have to wait a day for pickles. If you wanna wait a day, then don't heat this. Just make it and then pour it over your thing, throw it in the fridge for a day, and you're set. But we ain't got that kind of time, so we're gonna do a quick homemade pickle. So, like I said, 1 cup of water, and then I'm gonna add a tablespoon of dill, then about a teaspoon of whole peppercorns. We're gonna add 2 teaspoons of salt, a 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar, and then a hefty tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 large bay leaf, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of ground mustard. Okay, then turn him on high. We're gonna actually turn him down to about medium high. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and cut up our cucumber. And then I have a nice little mason jar that we'll put it in. All right, and we're just doing this until this starts to form bubbles, aka starts boiling. And I lied, ended up using the entire cucumber. My jar was a little bit bigger than I anticipated, but you want it to fill it to the top of your jar. So this is probably roughly about 1.5 to 2 cups, but that's okay. More pickles for me. Anyway, we boiling, so I'm gonna cut him. And then we are going to carefully move you over here and then carefully pour this over the pickles. Perfect. Just enough room at the top for the lid. All right, and then throw the lid on, and then we're gonna throw him in the fridge. And then we're gonna go ahead and make the rest of our stuff. All right, so next we're going to make a tzatziki sauce. And basically it's normal Greek tzatziki sauce, but we're not gonna put grated cucumber in it since we are doing homemade pickles. But the seasonings and stuff are all going to apply. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Okay, to this we're going to add a 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt, a 1/2 teaspoon of dill, a teaspoon of lemon juice, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of cracked black pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, a 1/2 teaspoon of parsley, about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Give that a good mix. Bueno. All right, we're gonna put him in the fridge, and then we're gonna get started on the important part, our salmon burgers. All right, now time for the fun part. So I have here, it's a pound of salmon, but it's got the skin on it, so we're gonna take the skin off. This should be about roughly 10 ounces to maybe 12, but we'll throw it in our food processor, but we're gonna cube them up into about 1.5 to 2 inch chunks, and we'll throw them in there, and then we'll add everything else to it. So let's go ahead and clean this guy up. All right, not bad. So we're gonna chop him, and just always double check, make sure that there isn't any bones in there, because every now and then it doesn't always get cleaned up the best, but that's okay. Like I said, into manageable chunks, doesn't have to be beautiful, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw him in yonder. All right, not a bad cleaning job. So to this, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of leftover rice. This is going to act as our binder. This is in place of using breadcrumbs. Same idea as the salmon cakes, but with a few less ingredients, you'll see. Next, I'm going to add a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, a teaspoon of lemon juice, a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 cup of chopped green onion, and 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, all in our food processor, and we're gonna pulse this until smooth. Okay, and just double check it, make sure there aren't any big chunks of salmon left, but we're gonna scoop him out into a bowl so that we can double check that. All right, not bad. So it looks like I should be able to get, I'm hoping 4, probably 3 good sized patties out of this. But I am gonna go ahead and wipe just a little bit of olive oil on our griddle. And we're gonna toast some Carb Smart buns. These guys. All right, buns are toasted. I was able to get 4 nice salmon patties. Griddle is still on. I re-oiled it just a little bit. This is still a little hot from the buns, but we're gonna go ahead and throw these guys on. And we are going to cook these until they reach about an internal temp of about 145, maybe even 150, just to play it safe. All right, little flipperooski. Ooh, that looks yummy. That's a nice crust. We like that. Okay, we're just gonna let those guys finish cooking until they reach their temp. All right, and these guys are done. Not bad, not bad. Let's dress. All right, so part of me was gonna put cheese on these. Part of me was gonna put some like mozzarella cheese on these. Frankly, I don't know if I want to. So, I'm not going to. Mainly because we have the sauce. So, I'm gonna go ahead and pick out my two burgers that I want. I'm gonna go with this guy and this guy. Okay, next, grab my pickles, throw those guys on. Okay, then some red onion. And we're gonna go ahead, put a little bit of our sauce on top of our bun. Okay, then a nice slice of tomato on each. Topper. Oh yeah, let's eat. All right, look at it. Oh yeah, cheers. Mmm. Mmm. All right, so hold on. I wanna get a bite with a little bit of pickle in it. First off, the salmon's cooked wonderfully. The burger itself is delicious. The tanginess of the sauce is fantastic. It does add a little bit of moisture to it, so that way, in case you do overcook it a little bit, you got some of the sauce to help with it. The tomatoes is a nice touch. The onion is a nice touch as well. And then that extra added little bit of garlicky dill pickle. And if you want to add a little bit of cheese, go for it. I didn't. But if you want to add, you know, some fresh feta or some mozzarella cheese, go for it. Honestly, this is very good by itself. Like I said, that little bit of brininess of the pickles, along with that almost tartness of the Greek yogurt, kind of balances itself out a little bit. But this is fantastic. It definitely almost feels like you're eating almost like a salmon gyro. This is, yeah. Well guys, there you have it. Greek style salmon burgers. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did and you're new, make sure you hit that sub button. Throw a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And as always, peace out. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!